Hey guys, how you doing today? I'm your host, Jared Bronstein, and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions. Today we'll be talking about the Demodog from Stranger Things and what would happen if they were real. Before we get into it, let me say there will be some Stranger Things spoilers in this one, so just brace yourselves, but you guys have had plenty of time to see it, so quit slacking here. Now that we got that out of the way, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell to be notified of when we post our other videos. We recently did a video where the floating disembodied voice of Jack Finch spoke about what if the Demogorgon was real. Make sure to check that out after this one. Today we'll be looking at its previous stage before it becomes a fully evolved Demogorgon. So the Demodog, as Dustin calls it, is really called the Dogogorgon. Say that fast 3 times. For the sake of this video, we're gonna just call it a Demodog because it is way easier to say. Now in Jack's video, he touched on the Stranger Things version of the Demogorgon, but he also spoke about its origins and the original from Dungeons & Dragons. In the case of the Demodog, it's only a fictional creature from Stranger Things, so all of our information will come based on that creature and that creature alone. So what exactly is the Demodog? Well, as previously mentioned, it's the phase before the Demogorgon, which is the final and most evolved phase of the monster in Stranger Things. So how does this thing differentiate from its final phase? Well, it's actually quite different. For starters, unlike the Demogorgon, the Demodog is quite susceptible to damage. Although their skin is thick enough to resist multiple gunshots, they still feel pain and can be killed. They walk on all fours, like a dog, and not on 2 legs like humans do. It seems that happens when they reach their final stage. They're also much smaller. It seems the Demogorgon is quite large. We're talking 10 feet large, at least. The Demodogs, on the other hand, seem to be the size of a medium-sized dog. They do, however, have faces that look like plants and hundreds or thousands of rows of sharp teeth. Of course, they got razor-sharp claws as well, which can easily pierce skin and kill you the way they killed... Hold up, spoiler alert here, but it's been out long enough. The way they killed our boy Bob. Aside from this, they hunt in packs and are rarely seen alone. Even though one seems pretty strong, a group of these things is sure to take down anyone and anything, as you can see here. So what would it mean for us if these things actually existed? Well, it definitely wouldn't be good, that's for sure. Although they only live in underground tunnels, which they seem to be quite good at digging, as well as the alternative reality of the Upside Down, there's no telling where else they would rain terror. Of course, Hawkins, Indiana is a totally fictional town as well, but if these things were to really exist in our everyday lives, well, what would that mean? Now, of course, assuming they came from an alternate universe, well, that'd be pretty cool. It'd mean that we can confirm one exists. We'd want to study it, explore it, see what else exists. Then again, that would most likely lead to the demise of those who do in fact explore it. Aside from studying this alternate universe, or reality, or dimension, whatever you'd like to classify it as, we'd also have to find ways to live with these creatures. As we know, Dustin raises one from when it's a baby, but it was brought up from Will coughing it up when he was in the bathroom. So, do these things have babies on their own, or do they just get coughed up by those infected with this disease? Who knows, really? Aside from the billions of dollars we'd spend researching this new dimension, and the Demodogs themselves, we'd most likely have to find a way to kill them. Assuming they eat anything and everything, they wouldn't necessarily run around your city or town and constantly kill. They might go after things in the woods. Maybe they'd explore the oceans, although it's unclear if they can swim. I doubt it. Regardless, these things are clearly bloodthirsty, and having them around would be quite problematic for anyone and everyone. It seems they would mostly rain terror wherever this dimension would be open. In this case, we can say Indiana for the sake of the video. This leads me to believe only countries connected to the US would be affected. The US, Canada, and Mexico would be in some serious trouble. But these things wouldn't be able to get across the world to Australia or anywhere in Europe or Asia, for example, unless they got into a boat or a plane and didn't kill those manning the vehicle until they successfully landed. This is also assuming they can't swim, which they can, because I'm saying that they can. Maybe they can, but we're gonna say they can. So how would North America survive the reign of terror brought on from the Demodog? Well, I don't think they'd have to. I genuinely believe once 1 or 2 or even a pack of these things started killing people and animals all over the initial city they were found in, the US Army would take them down quite easily. Maybe evacuate the town or city and just bomb it. Maybe even nuke it, although that could mutate them and cause even more problems. It's unclear really how the country would react, but I think a state of emergency is quite certain. We definitely wouldn't be able to live with them unless somehow we were able to train them. I don't think that would be possible either, but hey, they said flying was for birds, right? All in all, I really don't think that would be a viable option. The only real way to save the people of North America before these things start invading countries and cities all across the land is to kill them. Of course, as previously mentioned, they can be killed by gunfire and roll in packs. So who's to say mines, bazookas, and even assault rifles wouldn't take these bad boys down? Then we burn them. Or maybe we burn them alive. What's certain is we'd have to find a way to close the door to the alternate dimension. And I think we know how we do that. Nuke it. I'm just kidding. It would really depend on how we open this alternate universe or reality in the first place. If we use the type of machine they use in Stranger Things, then we'd just have to do what they did to reverse it. Closing the realm might just kill all and any entity that comes from the parallel universe. They may quite literally drop on the spot, and even if they didn't, closing the floodgates from which they came from would be the only way to get our lives back. Otherwise, I have no doubt these things would take over the entire continent of North America. And assuming they did, they might eventually kill themselves and die out. I mean, if you think about it, let's say somehow, some way, they kill literally every single person and thing in North America, and then they kill every animal, and all that's left is a deserted continent with tons of corpses rotting. Eventually these things would want to eat again. They're not going to the bottom of the ocean, assuming they can't swim, so what's left? Each other. They can turn the entire continent into their new homes, and even reach their final phase, but they'd be stuck on the one continent, and that's it really. Eventually other countries would join forces and destroy all of North America, including the dimension, which would be fine because everyone who once inhabited the land would be dead anyway. Use as many nukes as you want. I mean, it seems quite morbid, but we're talking worst case scenario here. I really don't think it would get to that point. I think if anything, after the first few attacks, the US government would shut down the operation, find a way to close the alternate universe, or reality, or dimension, and kill all the Demodogs, and we wouldn't have much to worry about. That being said, none of this should concern you. We're talking about fictional monsters from a Netflix TV show. None of this would ever happen, guys, so I wouldn't fret all that much. If you guys haven't seen our video about the Demogorgon being real, I'd check that out after this one. Jack did quite an exceptional job exploring that question. For now, let's reply to some comments from the video. What really happened to the Titanic? RMS Titanic said, "Fun fact, the swimming pool is still full of water." Bro, you are a savage. That's not nice, but it's true. The Oceanic Gamer said, "I've always wondered what the boat's name was in that movie." Well, there you have it. It was the Titanic, I think. Tape Girl said, "Titanic sinks. The shrimp on the Titanic. I'ma head out." These comments were way too much. Like, you guys literally have no heart, but I loved it. I loved every second of it. Anyways, guys, on that note, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I've been your host, Jared Bronstein. Like I said, check out the video Jack did on the Demogorgon, and we'll see you guys again soon. Make sure to subscribe, share this video with a friend or a Stranger Things fan if you think they'll like it. Of course, give it a thumbs up, and we'll see you soon.